So welcome guys, it's Andy here from D6 Evolution, and it is time for my review of the Blood of Baal. Now, anyone who's new to the channel, D6 Evolution, we're all about 40k tactics here and competitive 40k. So with that in mind, this review today is going to be competitively focused. I'm going to go over what I think is good in this book. I'm going to put up all the data sheets, all the rules on the screen as we go through. So if you want a bit more information about things, you can just look as we're going along. But like I said, this is going to be a short review and it's going to focus on what I really like about this book. And there are some really, really good things in here. Okay, so Blood Angels then. So before the Space Marine book arrived, Blood Angels were the undisputed kings of the Smash Captain. And I still think they're really good. Their original codex is super strong because they've got delivery mechanisms to get their assault units into combat. They've got the Forlorn Fury before the first turn they can move, which means that jump pack unit has a threat range of up to 42 inch for its first turn charge. You've got the Wings of Fire, so you can get those first turn deep strikes off. And of course, you've got the 3d6 charge from Deep Strike as well. They've got awesome relics in the normal book with the no Overwatch relic as well. So the question is, what will this book here add to it, and will it make Blood Angels competitive again? And the simple answer is yes. So let's dive in and let's talk about the first thing here. So first of all, they get combat doctrines, which is absolutely huge. So what that means essentially is that they can be souped back in with Space Marines without Space Marines losing their combat doctrines as well. And I think that's probably the biggest change in this book, and that's why you're going to see Blood Angels back in a lot of these armies again. I'm going to keep mentioning the Smash Caps, and I'm going to keep mentioning that actually I think Blood Angels are better in Imperial armies rather than by themselves. And that's because their bonus for going pure is that it's an assault-based bonus that they get. When they're in the assault doctrine, they get +1 attack, which in terms of a bonus for going pure is not very good, to be honest. Now, the other big change is that Red Thirst, their ability to get +1 to wound in the first round of combat, that's just got even better. So instead of just having +1 to wound, they now get +1 to charge as well. Okay, so let's talk about the characters first of all. So my favourite in this book is Mephiston. Now he's gone down 15 points with the chapter approved, and as well as crossing to being a Primaris Marine, he gets +1 attack and +1 wound for that 15-point reduction. So Mephiston is definitely a winner from this. Now, anyone who doesn't play Mephiston, he is an absolute beast. Let me tell you what you can do with it. So Mephiston runs 2 psychic powers normally, Wings and the Quickening. So from Wings, it means he can move 12 inches and he gets his move characteristic changed to 12 inches, so that if you cast this 2 turns in a row, he's moving 24 inches a turn. Now, the second thing is he gets the fly keyword. If you cast Quickening on him as well, he gets +3 to his charge range. Now, with the new shiny Red Thirst ability, that means he's got +4 to his charge range. So this guy is moving 24 inches, and then he's got +4 to his charge. So he has an insane threat range. Now, Quickening also gives you D3 extra attacks. With the stratagem for Blood Angels for 1 command point, you can get D3 extra attacks as well. So he's going to have 6 attacks base with the bonus for charging, and then he's potentially going to have up to 12 attacks, and then you could cast Might of Heroes, or if you went pure Blood Angels, that means you could get 13 attacks on him, and you can make him fight twice as well. So this guy is an absolute beast. He's strength 10, which means he's wounding everything in the game on 2s because of his +1 to wound. Mephiston is amazing. So Mephiston shares the same slot as a Librarian Dreadnought, and this is the main competition for Mephiston. Now, the Libby Dread is damage 3 as opposed to D3, which makes him better, and the Libby Dread can also take a Warlord trait, Artisan of War, to get flat 4 damage. Whereas he has less attacks, he can't run through walls like Mephiston because he's not infantry. So the other main thing which you've got to consider whether you're taking between Mephiston and a Libby Dread is that a Libby Dread can't fight twice unless he dies, whereas Mephiston can fight twice for 3 command points. So overall, I think Mephiston's still got the edge there. So there's definitely plus and minuses there. And as we get on to the rest of this review, there's some cool little stratagems you can use on the Libby Dread as well to make him more survivable. Personally, if it was me, I would just take both of them. Okay, so on to the second character I want to talk about here, and this is Asteroth. Now, Asteroth is essentially he's a chaplain for librarian for Blood Angels. I absolutely love this character. For 105 points, he is an absolute beast. Now, you don't get any new chaplain litanies. Unfortunately, you just get the standard Space Marine ones, but he knows the reroll hits plus 3 more abilities, which is huge, and he can cast 2 of them a turn. That's way better than a normal Space Marine chaplain. Now, what I would take on him is, as well as his normal litanies, I would take Mantra of Strength. His normal weapon is plus 2 strength, so he's strength 6, and on a 6 to wound, it does a flat 3 damage instead of D3 damage. Now, because it's a 6 plus to wound, because he gets plus 1 to wound on the first round of combat, this is happening on 5s. Right. So if you take the Mantra of Strength, you get plus 1 attack, plus 1 damage, and plus 1 strength. So now he's strength 7. Don't remember, guys, Blood Angels get plus 1 to wound. So he's going to be wounding most infantry and light to medium tanks on 2s in the game. And he's going to get plus 1 damage. So that means on 5s and 6s, he's going to get a damage roll of 4. And he's quite likely on the rest of his damage to get D3 plus 1, so some of them are going to be 4s as well. And 4 damage in this game at the moment is huge because everyone's running Centurions. So I think he's a cool little character there. He's good at buffing your army, and when you want to send him in, he's going to be an absolute monster in combat as well. Now the other one to talk about is Lamar. He's not as good as Asteroth in my opinion. He gets an extra attack. But he can only cast 1 power a turn, so in my opinion, he's just worse. He does reroll hits and he does reroll charge distances for Death Company. So if you're making your Smash Captains Death Company, you're dropping them down next to where Lamarty's is and trying to get that rerollable charge. That's okay. But generally, one of your Smash Captains already has the backpack to let you reroll charges anyway. So I don't think he's as useful. But obviously, if you're running heavy Death Company, he could be a good choice as well. Other 2 units, obviously Space Marine Blood Angels even got access to all the new Phobos units. The one I think is really cool is the Tactical Warsuit, because it's going to be a close combat monster with that plus 1 to wound. And of course, let's quickly talk about the Death Company veterans, the Primaris Intercessors. They're nothing amazing there, guys. They get an extra attack for being Blood Angels. They get a 6 up Feel No Pain. You can make it a 5 up Feel No Pain with the a stratagem for a command point as well. They're okay. They're 1 point more than a standard intercessor, but they're an elite rather than a troop. So if you're trying to fill out your troops for a battalion, I don't think it's worth it. You tend to use your intercessors as troops and then fill out more creative things for your elite choices. So they're okay. I just don't think they're that good. Now let's get a couple of things out of the way quickly. There are no new Warlord traits for Blood Angels in this book, which is, I think, a little bit of a shame, but obviously they still get the Warlord traits from their previous codex, and one of them is super strong, which we'll cover later. They do get access to the standard Space Marine Vanguard Warlord traits. They get the standard Space Marine Chaplain Litanies as well. Okay, so in terms of relics, now, Blood Angels already have awesome relics. So you've got your backpack for rerollable charges and ignore Overwatch from the main codex. You've got your Thunder Hammer, which hits on 2s. You've got which we're going to talk about in a moment, you've got a Thunder Hammer which can do 4 damage. So for these new relic section to be any good, it's got to compete with some seriously good relics. And as you can only take up to 3 relics in your army from Blood Angels, there's got to be something very special in this next section, and I don't think anything really quite hits the mark. So the ones which I think look okay, and again, I probably wouldn't take any of these, is you've got the Gleaming Pinions, which is a model you can have plus 1 to charge. Again, that's going to stack with their chapter tactic as well, so you're going to get plus 2 to your charge, and you can fall back in charge as well. So it's nice. I don't think it's as good as any of the other relics there, though. And the other one is Wrath of Baal. That's on an ancient model, and you get plus 2 to your move characteristic for all the models within 6 of the ancient. Again, that's nice. That could work in a heavy, a Blood Angels build with lots of Death Company, but I think realistically it's not worth taking either. Now, the one which is absolutely amazing, which I briefly mentioned earlier, is you can get a mastercrafted weapon. Now, 4 damage is where it is at. in against Space Marines at the moment. You need to have 4 damage in your army. You just need it. Now, having a mastercrafted Thunderhammer is amazing. Now you can so you've got one Smash Captain with a mastercrafted Thunderhammer. You've got one Smash Captain who's going to take the Blood Angels Warlord trait, which is Artisan of War, for getting 4 damage as well. Or you could just combine the two to have a 5 damage Smash Captain. Now personally, I think 5 damage is overkill, and you want both of them at 4 damage. But you can always mix and match these things before the game starts. So if you need to just take down that one target, you can. Getting a 5 damage Smash Captain in there is absolutely amazing, and probably makes him the best Smash Captain in the game again. Okay, so let's talk about stratagems. Now, a lot of these stratagems are just direct ports over from the Space Marine book. The Blood Angels do have a few unique ones, and there's a couple of real gems in here. So I'm going to go through the ones which I think apply best to Space Marines, to the Blood Angels even. So the first one is Duty Eternal. I absolutely love this stratagem. It's a direct port over from the Space Marine one, but it's going to apply to your Librarian Dreadnoughts, who are a combat monster in Blood Angels. Now that is, you take half damage for the phase, for 1 command point. That is absolutely amazing, and really puts the Blood Angel Dreadnought on the map even more than it already was. Next up, the other one I love is Hero of the Chapter. 1 command point, you can make someone who's not your Warlord, you can give them a Warlord trait. Now, you can only use this once, which is a shame, but there's one amazing Warlord trait for Blood Angels, and that is Artisan of War, to get +1 damage. So you get those nice 4 damage Thunderhammers. Now, it tended to be that when you did this previously, you needed to put it on your Warlord, and you suicided him forwards, and you always gave up Warlord. So this is a great way of not giving up Warlord, but still getting that amazing 4 damage Thunderhammer. Next amazing one is Transhuman Physiology. Again, it's a direct one from the Space Marines, but on things like Mephiston, on all your assault units, like your Death Company, your Sanguinian Guard, absolutely amazing. Can't be wounded on 1, 2, and 3s. Wound rolls. Now, it's a little bit of a trap if you try and use this thing 2 option, but in the right situation, this is amazing. Okay, another cool little one is Refusal to Die. Your Death Company now get to make their Feel No Pain saves on 5s and 6s. It's okay if you're running a big unit of the Death Company Intercessors or Death Company. It's okay. It's not game changing, but it's nice if you need them to survive. Okay, the next one to quickly talk about is Hammer of Wrath. Again, 1 command point. So if you're running a big unit of jump packs, they can all potentially cause mortal wounds when they go in on a 5+. It's okay. Even if you ran a big unit of 10, you're only looking at 3 mortal wounds. So it's all right. Now, Sanguinian Guard got 2 little stratagems which I think are really cool. The first one is Death on the Wind. So you can make, when they're attacking, any damage roll of 1 with the weapons can become a damage roll of 2. I like that. I like that a lot. They've also got a stratagem to... so they've also got a stratagem for the Angelus bolt guns as well, because Explosive Judgment. They ignore cover, they reroll wounds. Again, it's all right. It's a nice little buff if you're using them already, but it's not something which would make me take them necessarily. Though Sanguinian Guard did get points decreases in the new chapter approved, particularly with their weapons coming down in points quite significantly. Okay, so I've got one more stratagem to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about my favourite stratagem in this book. So the other one I want to talk about is you can make Storm Ravens blow up. I love Storm Ravens blowing up. D6 mortal wounds to everything around. That makes Storm Ravens incredibly potent once they're blown up, and probably doing more damage than they would do in life. So you can be really aggressive with your Storm Ravens, and people are not going to want to come near them. Now, the best stratagem in this whole book. Unbridled Adore. 1 command point. For 1 command point, you can make any Blood Angels unit in this entire book heroically intervene like a character. So you can still use this on characters. Now, when you're doing this, they can heroically intervene 6 inches. That's amazing. So that means you've got this massive threat range around all of your characters, like your Libby Dreads, your people like Mephiston. They can all do this, but they've got other cool little tech things you can do this with this as well. So like, if you had a Storm Raven, for example, and so people were piling into a unit near them, you could pile into the back of the unit and completely mess up their pile-ins and their consolidates. You could even pile in with a Storm Raven just to try and make it die, so they've got to attack it, and then you could auto-explode to do d6 mortal wounds to everything around it. Now, the other thing which is amazing for this, say if you had a Storm Raven or any transport and it dies, you can place your models. So if you had a big unit of Death Company, for example, riding in that Storm Raven, the threat range around that Storm Raven is crazy because you can place them up to 3 inches away. The back of the base is 3 inches away, so there'll be 4 and a bit inches. And then they can heroically intervene a further 6 inches. So you've got a threat range of 10 inches around that entire Storm Raven. So what it's about is probably a diameter of like 24 inches around this thing where no one can go. Because if they blow it up, these guys are going to get out and they're going to pile into combat. I mean, because you're doing it in your opponent's turn, it's very easy to set up these heroic interventions. Now, there are a few stratagems here that I don't feel really fit the Blood Angels feel. So they're putting over a lot of the normal Space Marine ones, and honestly, if you wanted to use these, you'd be playing Space Marines. Blood Angels are not about sitting back and shooting, they're about charging in and hitting people. So the target sighted, for example, for 3 command points you can snipe characters. Blood Angels don't snipe characters, they run in and hit them with a Thunderhammer. It's not needed in this book. The other one which I think is definitely a miss is adaptive strategy. Considering Blood Angels, if you run pure, get their buff from turn 3 when the Assault Doctrine's active, why have we got a stratagem to turn it back another phase, another turn? So, I won't get my Assault Doctrine into turn 4 or 5, I'll just tease myself. This stratagem needs to be the other way around. It needs to be your Assault Doctrine can occur straight away. Okay, so let's quickly cover the Flesh Terrors. They've got a couple of cool little things in here, so I think it's definitely worth mentioning. So, Flesh Terrors, they don't get the +1 to charge from Red Thirst. Instead, they get an extra -1 AP on a 6 to wound. An unmodified 6 to wound as well. It's not very good. But if you want to run Flesh Terrors, and there are reasons to run Flesh Terrors, I think it's a reasonable thing to do. Now, one of their Warlords traits is essentially you can ignore Overwatch on the model. So again, if you want to run 2 Smash Captains, both who can ignore Overwatch, this is, and you're not fussed about running Mephiston or any of the named characters, then that's not a bad option here, to be fair. It's not a bad option at all. Now, they have one stratagem that I like, and only one. You can pile in 6 inches instead of 3. In the right situation, this is absolutely amazing. So I think it's good. I don't quite think it's as good as the Blood Angels, and the Blood Angels have some really nice little characters in there, such as Asteroth and Mephiston, which you've really got to give them up, and you're giving up the +1 to charge as well. So overall, I think Flesh Terrors are weaker, but that no Overwatch Warlord trait, that's worth having, I think. And obviously you've got I mentioned earlier, you could get a second no Overwatch captain, because there's a stratagem in this book which lets you take a relic from Blood Angels even if you're a successor chapter, which is nice if you want to run that way. So overall, my thoughts on the stratagems are, there's some real little gems in there. The one which lets you heroically intervene 6 inches like you're a character is amazing. The one for the Libby Dread is absolutely amazing as well. Though overall, I was hoping for more from this Blood Angel supplement. Blood Angels are all about getting in and assaulting. They're not about standing back and shooting like a normal Space Marine army. After reading the Night Lords supplement, for Chaos, and they got the you can't fall back when you're within an inch of them for a command point. That is amazing. Now, that's what Blood Angels need. They need things which are going to work in combat. And I thought their original codex was amazing for giving them options. I don't really feel this supplement has given them any extra options, but it has. But what was good in the original codex has been buffed up to 11 in this one. Your Mephiston, your Libby Dreads, your Smash Captains are all way better now. And the ability to get 2 Smash Captains with 4 damage hammers and not needing to make any of them your actual Warlord is really, really good. So there we have it, guys. That is my review on Blood Angels. Let me know what you think. I've also done a review on the latest chapter approved with the points changes. So take a look at that, and you can find a link to the video description up there. And remember, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel already and you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.